Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping back in time. We're going to witness the rise, the absolutely tragic fall, and the stunning resurrection of one of the greatest intellectual achievements in human history, Nalanda, the mountain of truth and the fire that just couldn't destroy it. We're talking about a place that shaped the minds of millions, literally acting as the heartbeat of global knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture a silent night in the 12th century. The horizon of Bihar, India, is glowing, but not with the gentle light of dawn. It's lit up by a terrifying, devastating inferno. Imagine a fire so massive, so incredibly hungry, that it feeds on centuries of human wisdom. Accounts tell us that this fire raged for months, just burning through millions of delicate palm leaf and birch bark manuscripts. The air would have been incredibly thick with the scent of ink and burning parchment. It's a haunting, deeply dramatic scene that represents one of the most profound cultural wounds in human history. But, to truly grasp the tragedy here, we have to understand exactly what was burning.
Section 1. The world's first university, a cradle of knowledge.
To figure out what was lost in those flames, we need to flash back from the ashes all the way to the 5th century CE. During the reign of the Gupta Emperor Kumar Gupta I, a utopian center of learning was born right in the fertile plains of Magadha. Centuries before the stone towers of Oxford or the ivy walls of Cambridge were even a thought in Europe, Nalanda was thriving. To give you a sense of the sheer scale of this place, look at this number, 10,000. That's the estimated number of students who lived and learned on the Nalanda campus at its absolute peak. You had scholars and seekers journeying across dangerous trade routes from China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, and Southeast Asia, all just to walk through its gate.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer level of dedication to education in Nalanda. 2,000. That's the number of teachers guiding those students. If you do the math, that is a staggering 5-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Think about that for a second. Even our most elite, modern universities today struggle to match that kind of personalized, intense academic mentorship. It's just wild.
So what were these thousands of brilliant minds actually studying? Well, Nalanda was far more than just a Buddhist monastery. It was a multidisciplinary civilizational bridge. While they dove deep into religious and philosophical studies like Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhism, they perfectly integrated the secular sciences. We're talking about students debating logic, mapping the stars with advanced astronomy, practicing Ayurveda and surgery, and exploring complex mathematics right alongside theology. It was this incredibly holistic education designed to produce, completely well-rounded intellectuals.
But listen, you couldn't just walk in and take a seat. Oh no, Nalanda was rigorous. Prospective students had to be at least 20 years old, and before they even stepped foot on campus, they faced a grueling oral exam right at the gates. They had to demonstrate a deep, profound familiarity with a whole host of complex subjects. The acceptance rate? A brutal 20 to 30%. Yep, only 2 or 3 out of 10 applicants made it through. This meant Nalanda truly gathered the absolute brightest minds of the ancient world. You had to earn your spot.
Section 2. Dharma Ganja, the treasury of truth. At the very heart of all this incredible intellectual power was its legendary library, the Dharma Ganja. Now, this wasn't just a room with some books. It was the ultimate global knowledge hub of its era, housing an estimated 9 million manuscripts. 9 million! And remember, these weren't printed books. Every single text was painstakingly written by hand, copied onto palm leaves and birch bark by dedicated monks. It was literally an unfathomable ocean of human thought, covering everything from sacred religious doctrine to the absolute cutting-edge science of the day.
The sheer architectural majesty used to house all this knowledge was staggering. The library complex was actually divided into 3 grand buildings. You had the Ratnasagra, or Sea of Jewels, which was dedicated to science and math. Then the Ratnaranjaka, adorned with gems for literature and the arts. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the crown jewel, the Ratnadadi, or Ocean of Treasures. This magnificent structure towered an awe-inspiring 9 stories high. It was specifically designed to protect their most sacred and vital scriptures.
To really feel what it was like to be there, we can look at the writings of Xuanzang. He was a famous 7th century Chinese pilgrim and scholar who actually studied at Nalanda. Looking out from his quarters, he described towers and fairy-like turrets that congregated together, observatories lost in the morning vapors, and upper rooms that seemed to tower above the clouds. Wow, it must have felt like a literal city of the mind, just suspended right between the earth and the sky.
Section 3. The tragic destruction.
As we know, golden ages rarely last forever. After roughly 800 years of acting as the intellectual lighthouse of Asia, Nalanda met a violent and really tragic end at the close of the 12th century. Now, when we look at the historical sources regarding its destruction, we actually see two distinct narratives. I want to present these to you entirely neutrally here, just as we explore the texts. On one hand, widely cited Persian chronicles, like those by Minhaji Siraj, attribute the destruction to a devastating military raid around 1193 CE by the Turkic general Bakhtiar Khilji. He reportedly mistook the walled university for a fortress and put it to the sword and torch. Alternatively, we have Tibetan historical accounts from scholars like Taranatha. They suggest the Great Fire was actually the result of internal religious conflicts, specifically a revenge plot by Hindu tantric sectarians who used magic and fire to destroy the library after being insulted by young monks. Again, we aren't endorsing a viewpoint, just showing you what the historical accounts say.
So, the crucial point is this. Regardless of exactly how that spark was lit, the aftermath was a catastrophic loss for humanity. Monks were killed or forced to flee, those 9 million meticulously crafted manuscripts reduced to ash. The vibrant, bustling global center of learning became smoldering ruins. Eventually, it was just swallowed by the earth and covered by centuries of absolute silence. It was, quite literally, the erasure of an entire civilization's intellectual memory.
Section 4. A Phoenix from Ashes. But here's why this story doesn't end in despair. Ruins don't remain silent forever, do they? True knowledge always finds a way to resurface. The story of Nalanda is ultimately one of incredible resilience. Just look at this timeline of rediscovery. For over 600 years, Nalanda was completely forgotten. Then, in 1812, surveyor Francis Buchanan Hamilton practically stumbled upon the ruins. By 1915, the Archaeological Survey of India began formal excavations, pulling those ancient brick monasteries back into the light. Fast forward to 2010, and something miraculous happened. An international act of parliament was passed, backed by multiple Asian nations, to literally revive the university. And by 2016, the ancient site rightfully took its place as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the present day. Ancient Nalanda was known for its eco-friendly monastic practices, right? It was sustained by local villages, totally harmonious with nature. Well, today, the newly inaugurated 2024 Nalanda University campus honors that exact same legacy. It is a sprawling 455-acre net-zero sustainable campus. It's not just some museum. It's a living, breathing international research university that has picked up the torch dropped 8 centuries ago. They're offering degrees in everything from Buddhist studies to ecology and international relations. Which brings us to a final, pretty profound question. How do you erase an entire civilization's memory? The answer, as the epic story of Nalanda proves, is that you simply can't. You can burn the building, sure, and you can scatter the scholars, but the hunger for truth, that's unyielding. Knowledge outlasts destruction. The legacy of Nalanda wasn't just in its palm leaves. It was in the powerful idea that education should cross borders, blend disciplines, and elevate humanity. That idea survived the fire. And honestly, it's an idea we need now more than ever. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep that hunger for knowledge alive.